Hello and welcome to the Gravel Ride podcast, where we go deep on the sport of gravel cycling through in-depth interviews with product designers, event organizers, and athletes who are pioneering the sport. I'm your host, Craig Dalton, a lifelong cyclist who discovered gravel cycling back in 2016 and made all the mistakes you don't need to make. I approach each episode as a beginner to unlock all the knowledge you need to become a great gravel cyclist. This week on the podcast, we're doing something a little different. I'm riding solo for a change for a special holiday gift guide. Think of this as like a post-ride tailgate chat, just me sharing the gears, tools, and healthy habits that have actually made my gravel riding a little bit different this year. If you've got a rider in your life, or you're the rider in your life, this guide is built from the gear I use, trust, and have real stories about. There's a few things in here that I'll be full transparency, where I have some affiliate arrangements, but everything I've used here, I've used either in the garage or on my person. So welcome to the 2025 Gravel Ride Podcast Holiday Gift Guide. If you're watching on video, I'm going to be flipping through some screen shares so you can see some of the products I'm talking about. If you're not, hopefully my description will be enough. The goal for this is to alleviate a problem I have every year, which is family, friends, they want to buy me gifts, but I'm so kind of personally invested in my bikes that it's hard for them to choose anything that's actually going to land. So throughout the gift guide, I've tried to choose things that I think will land regardless of whether you know the riders' ins and outs of their equipment or not. These are just super useful tools that I've gotten a lot of use out of. So we'll jump through. We've got a couple different segments here, and I'll try to break it up very easily. So if you want to send a couple minutes of this for a piece of gear you like to a friend or family member, it should be easy to do so. So the first couple items on this year's list for me are from my friends at Wolftooth. I've recorded with the team at Wolftooth on a couple different occasions. They're one of my favorite companies because they build stuff right here in America. They do lots of different things, from headsets to bottom brackets to tools, chain rings, etc. I really love their tools, and their tools have saved my ass. This past weekend, I was on a charity mountain bike ride, and these 8-bit pack pliers came in handy in a way that I never understood they would before. In previous challenging incidents out on the trail, I've had friends who have broken their chain or needed to break the chain via the master link. These pliers have the ability to kind of pull that master link. So that's great. They've got all the basic Allen wrenches you're going to need in a pretty compact and lightweight fashion. So what happened this past weekend? I'm riding with a bunch of guys going up Mount Tam, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but I start feeling something funny attached to my left leg. And I said, hey guys, I think I've got a major problem. And I actually thought, by the way it felt, that my cleat was loose. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but you kind of can't get out of your SPDs at this point. I looked down, and I'm not kidding you guys, my left crank arm fell off the mountain bike. Now, I'm not the most diligent person in taking care of my bikes, but I'm not the worst either. And you would have thought at some point over the first hour or so of that ride, I would have noticed something going wrong. The crank arm fell off. I've only ever seen this happen with one other person before in my life. So it was crazy. Knowing just sort of in the back of my head that the bolts to put on a crank arm are generally quite a large hex, I was not optimistic that I was going to have a solution on the trail. In fact, someone handed me a multi-tool and it had nothing. I think it went up to a 5mm, and that wasn't close. It then dawned on me that the attachment area of this Wolftooth pack plier, where you put the bits you most normally use, is actually a bit itself. And I think it's actually an 8mm bit. So to my surprise and absolute delight, because I was not looking forward to coasting downhill and trying to hitch a ride home, the friggin' tool fit the bolt in my crank arm. So I got the crank arm back on and was able to ride for 3 more hours with this group and had a blast. So highly, highly recommend this tool. It's super nifty. When you have it in your hand, the aluminum machined feeling of it is just super premium. So look, a lot of us have multiple multi-tools in our lives. but this is 100% my go-to. And even if you have other tools around and you're giving this as a gift, it's going to be highly, highly appreciated. So I've got it on the screen here. It's $69.95. They may have some sales going for the holidays, for Black Friday and Christmas. It's packed with 17 functions. So you got a spoke wrench, a valve core wrench, a flathead, Phillips head screwdriver, all the Allen wrenches and hex wrenches you need, torque wrenches, which comes in handy. I sometimes use this in the garage, and magnetized so all the bits stay in place. Anyway, highly, highly recommend this. And I'm going to shift my screen here, and I'm going to go over to another product from Wolftooth that I think you'll like. Now, this Wolftooth has what they call the color shop. So any accent color for almost any part you want is available here. I've got the orange ones shown on screen. And as I mentioned, these guys make a whole bunch of stuff, including mountain bike grips. But the things I want to point your attention to would be the seat post clamp, anodized color sets for your headset spacers, bolts, and stem caps. And then they have a center lock brake bolt as well. So anyway, this might be a little bit complicated. If you're just looking for something simple and easy, that's definitely going to work. You could get the water bottle cage bolts in a cool color. So go check out your friend's bike or your spouse's bike, see what might be a nice accent. They're super clean. If you want to get a little bit more technical, I mean, most of the gravel bikes I'm aware of are 1 1/8". So if you're looking for those colored headset spacers, just look for 1 1/8". For $36.95, you can get a whole kit that has multiple different sizes. Actually, to outfit my bike for Unbound, I got a bunch of different colored ones, sort of like Rastafarian style look to it, which was pretty cool. I just like a pop of color. I ride a titanium bike these days, and having a pop of color is just nice. I swapped out my seat color because these guys started to offer this nice kind of pewter color last year. So I swapped out what was normally gold for pewter. Anyway, great gifts from Wolftooth. Pretty easy to get it right and not too many sizes to go for. Okay, switching over to our next item on the list. I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going over to my friends at Redshift Sports. Now, you guys might recall a few years back, I started riding suspension stems, specifically the Pro version of their suspension stem that you see on the screen here, the ShockStop Pro, $194.99, so not inexpensive. They've got a sort of slightly heavier, the original version, which is $149. Now, I'm a fan of suspension on gravel bikes. You've got multiple different ways to suspend yourself. First, you've got your body, of course, but eventually you're going to hit terrain that overwhelms your body's ability to provide suspension. If you're the type of rider that's having back or shoulder injuries or just need a little bit more support, maybe your bike doesn't take wide tires, I really did enjoy rocking this stem. It's not currently on my primary gravel bike because I've gone to some pretty massive tires, but I do recommend it as a cool upgrade. I've always appreciated the team over at Redshift. They've done a lot of creative product development around areas of the sport that maybe people are looking for something very specific, a solution that doesn't exist. For example, they've got a sort of a riser drop bar handlebar. So if you're a rider like me who, as they've gotten older, it's become less flexible and you've got a bike in your quiver that you just can't kind of get up high enough on, it's a really elegant solution so that you don't have to have a stem being jacked straight up. So there's an idea there. Another thing, I'm just going to switch over to their shop on their website. Another thing I super appreciated on my commuter bike was these Arclight Pro clipless pedals. So again, going back to that thoughtfulness that I always find comes from the team at Redshift. These pedals have removable blinky lights, red and white, on either side of the pedal. And the pedal's actually smart enough so that as you're clipping in, if you flip it over to the other side, the color will change. So you've always got white in the front and red in the rear. As the time has changed and it's getting darker when I commute home, I very much have appreciated the additional visibility of these pedals. It just makes me feel a little bit safer. I'm always a little worried on the way home that people are tired and not paying attention, and therefore I'm going to get hit. So anyway, head on over to Redshift. I know they had a special going on for Black Friday recently, so I think you can get some really good deals. I see the Arclight Pro Clipless pedal is on sale, down from $249 to $187, which is a pretty incredible deal at this point. Go check them out. Bunch of stuff on the Redshift site that you might enjoy. Now, moving over to what you wear on your body. Lots of great clothing items out there. I just wanted to flag something I've been wearing for a while, and that's the Merino tee from Pinebury out of Maine. Met these guys a few years ago, and they've been adamant supporters of the sport. I saw them out at Unbound. They're really kind of doing some cool stuff out there in Maine. I think what I love about this shirt is I love merino wool, period stop. It's comfortable. It's light. If you're using it to work out, it never smells, but it looks clean enough that you can wear it into kind of a casual environment. They've got two different variations of this. They've got the summer wool, which sounds crazy when you think about wool, that you'd wear it in the summer, but this is a super lightweight, breathable version. And then they've got a standard version, which I'm actually got underneath this red sweatshirt today, a little bit thicker. Both of them wear well, super fun for riding and working out. If you match them with a cargo short, it's just a great way to have a casual look if you don't need those pockets in the rear. All right. What is next? Next up, we're going to go over to my friends at Topeak. And let's talk first about pumps. And specifically, let's talk first about digital pumps. You've probably seen some of these out there already. These little pumps that are about the size of, I don't know, half a cell phone or something, a little bit thicker than that. But you can program in exactly what PSI you want, and you put them onto your valve core. It makes a bunch of noise, but it pumps up the tire. It's been pretty incredible having a digital powered pump in my pocket because you can decrease air pressure or increase it at any time you want during the ride. So of course there's the bike, the tire is flat, you need to pump it all the way up, whatever. Great, perfect. It does that, no problem. So it's there when you need it. But what's also been cool for me, particularly on technical gravel rides on Mount Tam, I'll just decrease the air pressure when I'm descending and then put some more air back in the tire when I get on the road. So obviously you can do this with a pump. People have been doing it for years, but I was really surprised when I got my hands on one of these that it does open up a new time, I guess, that I'm inflating and deflating my tires. So I love that. Speaking of inflating and deflating tires, I also think that a standard floor pump is an excellent gift. I've been rocking the JoeBlow pump. I think I've got this sport version, the non-digital version. I think I've had that thing for about a decade. So I know these Topeak pumps very well. They crush. There's a bunch of different versions here. Obviously, if you're just doing gravel or mountain, you don't need any of these high pressure ones, but they've got ones that go up to 160 PSI. Don't know who in the world would ever need that, even a roadie, but they're there. Any one of these pumps, again, look around the garage. If the person you're buying a gift for doesn't seem to have anything recent or just a good floor pump, highly recommend my friends over at Topeak. And then something I've been using for a while now from Topeak is their ratchet set, their torque ratchet set. This took me a while to get my hands on one of these. I originally just had like a 4mm for stems that I think I got from when I bought a bike at some point. But having a ratchet set that has all the different tool sizes in it has become critically important. I think you used to be able to get away with it, but now everything is being designed around a specific torque. So I really love the looks of this essential tool shop. It's got bits across every kind of category you can imagine. I can't even count how many they have, but they have both the torque bits and the hex Bics. They've got extensions. They've got a bunch of different things. They've got a disc brake expander, a chain brake tool in there, kind of everything you need to make sure that when you're installing bolts and tightening things down, you're getting the right torque. In my mind, this is a must-have in the garage, whether it's one of these from Topeak or something else, but do not over torque your bolt. I can tell you from experience way back when I one time over tightened the bolt on my stem, and I found out after the fact that I pinched a nice handlebar. So it actually, you could see it's got a small indentation and became not safe to ride. So that was a big bummer. No one likes to throw away parts, that's for sure. So highly recommend that as a gift as well. Shifting over to one of the final segments we have here, I did want to talk a little bit about health and wellness as a sector. A lot of times, maybe these parts are difficult to imagine someone buying for you. And maybe it feels gratuitous almost to have that digital pump or something specialized like that. This next section, I think, are things that we all should be doing for ourselves, but maybe we won't. So they make a great gift. First off is from my friends at Dynamic Cyclist. So Dynamic Cyclist has been around, gosh, I don't know, maybe 8 years at this point. We had someone on the team on the podcast a few years back. They offer strength and stretching programs specifically focused at cyclists. So they have an annual plan, which is around $100 a year, I think, or you can just go month by month. So if I'm being honest, I mostly think about, much to my body's chagrin, strengthening and stretching during the winter. I know I need to be doing it all year long. But they have programs that have been thoughtfully designed by cyclists for cyclists. So a lot of times if you go to a generic stretching program, they're really not understanding the hip flexors, the different areas of the body that a cyclist may spend more time sort of under tension or under load, or the awkward positions we have on a bike. So I've had a great deal of success working through the Dynamic Cyclist programs. They've got a bunch of them, some specific for injury, some just general cycling. And then on the strength side, they've got a number of different programs that use simple tools like bands and maybe a kettlebell, some lightweight stuff that you might have around the house. So that is a great, thoughtful gift. It will remind your loved one that you care about them and that you want them to be pain-free and perform to their utmost potential. Speaking of performing to your utmost potential, here's a one that you may not have thought about previously, and that is a balance board. So balance boards are super good for your core. Balance in general, in talking to a number of chiropractic friends and performance coaches, balance is critical. I guess we kind of all know this as cyclists, but maybe don't spend enough time kind of thinking about it and working on it. So I've been using this core balance board from MTB Hopper the last couple months. Basically, it's got a couple different modalities. You've got what you see on the screen here, which is sort of as you would envision when you're listening to me. A balance board is a plank of wood, effectively, with some mechanism in the middle that forces you to stand on either side of it and practice your balance. So as you're doing it, you're making all kinds of micro adjustments in your hip, your core, your low back, your legs. You really feel it. I kind of treat this almost as a game when I'm using it. Trying to last more than 30 seconds is my goal. I think I can get up to a minute now. The other cool feature of this MTB Hopper core balance board is that they have drill outs for doing plank work on the balance board itself. So you've got a sort of inside and outside hand positions. So it's almost like drop bars versus mountain bar width. But you can get in there, do your plank. And again, you're just adding that additional element of micro adjustments from your core as you're doing the plank. So you may have tried something similar by leaning on a balance ball or a Bosu ball, something like that. This is a really cool way of doing it. They ship the product with two different sort of centerpieces. So you've got one that's a little bit wider and a little bit easier to balance. And then the other one is a little bit narrower. I've managed to advance myself to the narrower one. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And again, for me, the dynamic cyclist stretching routine and working on core is definitely something that's on my mind this winter. Two gifts that I think any cyclist in your life will appreciate. And not only will they appreciate it, it's something that will give them better performance. And if you're an older cyclist, it's really going to prolong your ability to ride the bike. The final one I want to talk about today is maybe a little bit surprising, perhaps, something we don't talk about too much, but I may talk about it a little bit more and have some guests on the podcast next year. I'm going to recommend Rhythm Health monthly blood test. This is a at-home blood test. And when I say at home, I mean at home. It's not someone coming to your home. It's you actually drawing your own blood and having it sent off to the lab, and then having the team at Rhythm deliver the analysis of your blood results in an easy to understand, actionable way. This is one area of health I'm super excited about as we get the influence of AIs in the world. Healthcare has always been super confusing to me, and blood tests and results, I kind of hear it from the doctor and it goes in one ear and out the other. I get the basics, but I'm really not understanding it. As I've gotten older and started to kind of understand the need for supplementation in my diet, you start to really focus in on the things that you can control and the things that you can't control. As an older athlete, I've found over the years, I could fake a lot by getting better at training, whether it's more structured, hiring a coach. I could continue to elevate my performance. But what I'm realizing at this point is I need to focus on some more core fundamentals at this point, because those other modalities of improvement are just getting harder and harder to achieve. So I think I need to go back to the core and figure out really what's going on inside. Working with Rhythm Health, it's honestly been like a light bulb has gone off. First off, I didn't believe it was going to be possible to test and get a blood draw at home, but they've worked with a partner and they've got this little device, and bear with me if you're not looking at the screen, but it's a sort of this plastic device with a big red button. You attach a little vial to the bottom of it. After cleaning your arm and warming it up to get a little blood flow, you stick the plastic device on your arm and you push the red button. And if you're like me, the first thing that came into your mind was, holy crap, that's going to hurt. You're jabbing a needle in your arm. I've got no skill to jab a needle in my arm. That's not the way it works at all. It's more like one of those continuous glucose monitor patches. You press it in a very, very small knife. This is sounding scary as I realize it coming out of my mouth, but a very small knife makes a tiny incision in your arm. You do not feel it. I'm not kidding you. You do not feel it. Within a couple seconds, 30 seconds, blood's going to start flowing in the vial. Once the blood has reached a line on the vial, you simply peel it off, remove the vial from the plastic part I was describing, put a cap on it, turn it upside down 10 times, flick it, put it in a container that the team at Rhythm gives you. And then this is going to trip you out. You can either drop it off at a FedEx store, or you can call them or text them, and they'll send an Uber over to your house to pick it up. The blood then goes to a testing lab. The testing lab delivers results back to Rhythm. You get a text notification, and you can see that entire panel of blood work. You can do it every month. You can pause it at any given time. It's not a subscription that you can't get out of easily. They send you a reminder every month. I think I've settled on quarterly, so I'm going to do it 4 times a year. Might be a little bit higher this year, but the results have been very, very telling. After an onboarding call, there was a couple of very low-hanging fruit things I needed to work on. I needed to get some magnesium in my life. I needed to get more vitamin D. Vitamin D is a very common deficiency. I noticed some anomalies with my free testosterone. Interestingly, I've been on a thyroid medication for many, many years. And in my most recent blood work from Rhythm, they flagged that my thyroid was not functioning correctly or within the zone that they would want. I failed to mention they've got an AI health coach built in to Rhythm Health. So you can query the coach and ask them what's going on. They're going to flag everything and tell you what ranges you're in. But unlike other systems that I've used before, it is brilliant to be able to ask questions against your own data. And one of the things they flagged just this last month, I was just reading it yesterday, was my thyroid medicine might be off because my thyroid, I think it's the TSH number, is outside the normal range. And since I'm already using pharmaceuticals to adjust that range, I just need to contact my doctor and ask them about it. So I was able to download the data. I asked the AI to write me a little note describing the situation so I could put it in medical terms. I was able to upload the 3 most recent Rhythm Health blood works to the doctor, and I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. So I have no idea how long I would have kept coasting on the same dosage of levothyroxine, the thing I'm taking for my thyroid, if these guys hadn't flagged it. I mean, I would have gone another 6 months, to be honest. So that alone is going to make my subscription to Rhythm Health worth it this year. I highly recommend it just to get a baseline insight. We all know that doctors aren't there to make you perform great. Doctors are typically there just to fix you when you're broken and throw some medicine at you. I've just felt very empowered from the team at Rhythm Health and the data they're able to give me. So check that guy out. I will have links to everything in the show notes, and I'll post some of this to Instagram as well. So if you're listening to the podcast in your ears and not looking at it on a screen, great. I'll post some stuff to different platforms so you can see the things I'm talking about. I'll also have links to everything in the show notes. Again, full disclosure, do have some affiliate relationships with these companies. Someone's got to keep the lights on here at the podcast. So I appreciate your understanding there. But I stand behind every single one of these products I recommended. I think if you're looking for a gift for someone, hopefully there's some good and easy ideas in there in multiple price ranges from $10 to $200. So a lot of options there. Or if you're like me and sometimes you just buy something here for yourself because you've got a Black Friday sale or Cyber Monday, go for it. A couple good recommendations in here for you as well. So that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Gravel Ride Podcast. Thank you. I hope this was interesting. It's a new foray for me doing a solo episode like this. My wife has been encouraging me to do a gift guide for a few years because I do see so many great products doing what I do here. So I appreciate it. Have a happy holiday. And until next time, here's to finding some dirt under your wheels.